Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Get Design Clients Challenge. As always, I am Pete, your host, and I am excited to be able to share a little more knowledge with you. And today's Q&A is a little bit shorter. I have been doing an irrigation installation for a friend of mine, which I'm getting paid for, which is great, for her edible landscape. However, it's very hot here in Florida, and I've been overworking a little bit. I usually start early in the morning, which I've been doing, but um, the heat takes a lot out of you here when you're sweating nonstop. So I didn't end up putting a reminder in the Facebook group or the email I sent out today about the Q&A. So no worries if you didn't, remember we had it, but I'm gonna be on here tomorrow as well. And then, remember that anytime you guys have a question, a comment, a concern in your business, something comes up very randomly, just remember that I am always available via email and in the Facebook group. That's why I created it, so that we can interact together, and you can also find other people within the group who are like-minded, so we can keep commenting on each other's ideas and stories and wins and fails, and really be able to learn out of this whole experience together. So, what to do? I had a question come up from today's email. I think it was just kind of a random idea one of you had, but what do you do when someone asks you how much you charge as the first question your potential client's asking you before they even really understand what it is that you do? They might hear that, you tell them you do landscape design, that you're a permaculture designer, and the first question they ask right off the bat is, okay, what's your rate? What's your hourly rate? How much is this going to cost me? And that's just a really easy pitfall to fall into. And actually, another reason why I wanted to go over this is because my girlfriend Emily, who's a yoga therapist, was on the phone with a client yesterday, and that was the first question they asked her. And she said, well, I charge $95 per session because it is an hour long, but there's a lot of other work that goes into the work she does. And that's a good reminder to you guys, is that there is a lot of work hidden within any client that you might be dealing with, that you might be organizing and doing administrative background work for any project for, or travel costs, things like that aren't part of the actual design work you're doing. Be careful about the way that you charge. And I'll go over this for my email tomorrow. I'm going to be focusing on the rates that you charge and how you actually start to think about costing your design projects. But, it's really easy to want to tell clients right off the bat, this is how much I charge. But for one thing, if someone's asking that right off the bat, you might want to think to yourself, is this someone I really want to be working with? What is the reason why they're asking how much it is? Starting to be able to ask some of the questions about what their project really entails is going to help you tell them how much it might be. But often people will ask us as contractors, whether we're a plumber, an architect, or a landscape designer, they're going to ask us how much we charge. And really, it's so subjective. It's so dependent on what you're doing and the type of service you're providing. Granted, once you have some set products and services that have a set process and you really understand what goes into it, you can tell people within a certain range how much something might cost, but always just being honest with people about the fact that if you don't know exactly what they want, this is why you do the initial consultation, to be able to discover more of what people are looking for. And no one needs to know your hourly rate, what you're charging per hour. That's how I cost jobs, is I have an hourly rate, which I charge, which is currently $60, which I'm building up and up with each job. I actually raise that a little bit with each job so I can gradually get to the point where I want to be, which is around $85 an hour, which was what I charged in Portland, Oregon. But it's really important to not fall into that trap of trying to tell someone how much it's going to cost to work with you right away. If it turns out that by asking a few other questions, such as saying, well, I'd really like to understand more about your project, and my design packages range between this and this, but it depends what you want. If it turns out that this person is seeming very impatient with you, or for whatever reason doesn't seem like a good fit or not truly interested, this is a great point in the relationship to be able to screen people, because just like if you were in a job interview, the employer is not the only person who is doing the interview. It's that you, as the consultant, should be interviewing the client to see if it's going to be a good working relationship for you. It's not all about the client getting exactly what they think they want or need. So don't feel like you're hedged into a corner when somebody asks how much things will cost, because if you're boxing yourself into a certain place, if you're trying to get that client, kind of a place of more desperation, you may end up in a situation that's not ideal for you as a designer, and you won't end up doing your best work anyway. So when somebody asks you right off the bat, how much do you cost, blah, 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 the best response to that is, well, it depends, which is one of the most common answers that we found in permaculture. I'm sure during your PDC, your instructor may have talked a lot about that. It always depends. And especially when it comes to the cost for your design services, you may have a set range that they usually fall within, and you can let people know that, but just be honest with them. Like I mentioned in day 3, honesty is really a key piece in the client-consultant relationship, that you need to know a lot more information before you can give them an actual price. And that's that whole proposal process after you have this initial site visit or initial consultation where you really understand the client's needs, where they're coming from, what all the project might entail, and understanding that design isn't just the time you spend designing, it's also travel time. It's also doing some of the background work of building your own systems for your business that you can do while you're doing a design, or keeping track of billing, things like that, writing contracts. A lot of that work is stuff that you should be paid for. And I go over a lot more of that in the new permaculture designer course that I'll tell you guys more about tomorrow and as we go along. But really just stick with that right now, that you don't have to tell people, nor should you or can you give them an exact number of what you charge, and no one needs to know your hourly rate. There are certain boundaries that you can set for yourself in your business where you don't need to share with people the entire ins and outs of the numbers game that you use to create your costs in your business. It's all about understanding what they want. And, if it's a good fit, then people will often value what you have, what you've laid out for them, and understand that the cost there is actually worth the money that they're paying for a design. So I see somebody there. Welcome, and drop in any questions or comments you have, things you've thought about. So why is right now the best time to start your business? And that's a great question, because, why not wait until next year when you think you might have some more time, or, when a certain project is over. And granted, I'm not saying that right now has to be when you start your design business, but I would ask you to take a close look at what's been holding you back from your business, and realize that there is no perfect time to start your business. And also you don't have to quit your day job to get your first client on the side, and build things up gradually and get to a point where you will eventually have enough clients in your design business, if you want to take it full time, where you can say, okay, I know that the systems I've learned through working with me, Pete, and working with the other designers that we build into this permaculture designer community, that you have the confidence to be able to take your design business full time over time. But I would implore you to think about starting your business now, or think about starting to actually grow it into what you'd like to see now. That's why I asked you guys when you first joined the Facebook group and the free course, where do you want to see yourself next year? Because if you want to see yourself earning $4,000 a month and having more time to work on your farm, the only way you're going to get there is by starting to make a plan around the outreach you're going to do to clients, the changes you're going to make in your own schedule to have the time to work on your business, to have the time for extra designs. Maybe it's every Tuesday and Thursday night for 2 hours you're working on it. Whatever you can do to keep making these small steps continuously. That's how I got where I am with my design business while I was working for other people. That's how I've gotten farther along with my own music. I'm a musician as well, a songwriter, and it's only going to happen gradually, and kind of snowball into something really meaningful if you're consistently working on things. And so that's why I'm here, is to help you guys to create that space in your life and find the mentors who, this is why I'm here, is to help mentor you guys and to help connect all of us with other designers, other people who are inspiring and who are doing the similar work, because then we can support each other. Because not only is there never a perfect time to start your business, but we don't necessarily have the privilege of waiting years to start our permaculture design business, in my opinion, because as you all know, you got into permaculture to be helping people, helping planet, helping save ecosystems, helping turn our agriculture around. And as I listen to more and more of the news and such going on, I'm not going to go down that doom and gloom rabbit hole, but really, do we have the luxury of waiting years before we can start putting our skills and knowledge that only you have, the life experience that you have, the people that you know are unique to you. No one else is going to do that work that you were put here to be able to do, and that you're so passionate about. That's why you're here as part of the free course, and hopefully part of the permaculture designer course coming up, to be able to take this into your professional life and be able to do this full time, earning a living, so that this can keep you on the track to help people and help our planet, and all the myriad ways that you could do it using your unique skills. And that's why I have found so much fulfillment in my own design business, but why I'm creating the professional permaculture designer course is so that I can, do this professionally, so that I'm doing it constantly, I'm doing it nonstop. I have a work-life balance, but when I'm actually working, I don't have to think, oh man, I'd really rather be saving the planet instead of typing away at this insurance company or whatever your other job might be. You can actually take your passion full time, because that's going to be what's really changing the planet for the better. And that's what I'm so excited to help you guys do, and share with you my wins and my fails, and be really honest in this whole process, to be able to, show you that, I'm not a one-off fluke, that we can all do this together. The doubts that you might have in your mind can be worked through if we're able to be a little bit vulnerable and share the things that we're going through together. So that's actually something I'm going to be doing a lot more in the Facebook group, is sharing some of my more vulnerable aspects, because once you see what it's really like in the backstage, it's not all fun and games, la la land. Things can get hard at times, but once we have a community around us to help us, that's really where we find strength. So let's see here. So there's so much you could be doing in your permaculture design business. There's so much information potentially available about starting a business, getting it going, but where else can we find this information packaged specifically to starting a professional permaculture design business? And so what I'm trying to do here is to be one of the people who's really practicing what I preach. I'm not one of those people who's saying, oh yeah, man, I earn 80 grand a year and I'm living out of a bus and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that's something I'm interested in doing. But, I have a real life. I have a real need to pay off my student loans and actually earn an income from what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the groundwork just a few steps ahead of you guys to be able to package this information together, not only to provide maybe some optimistic insights and things like that, but also the templates that I use on a day-to-day basis. I'm building into this professional permaculture designer course that's coming up, and some of the background things that are going to just so confusing when you're starting a business. Like, how do you write a proposal that can just be rolled over into a contract that's going to keep you and the client safe? How can you actually start to build some of the systems in your design process to keep all of your ideas in order and be able to lead the client through a very easy and easily repeatable design process that makes it so that you can have as much creativity that you can put into your design process without having to reinvent the wheel every time of, I guess this is the file that I use for my digital designs or my presentation, to have these templates ready for you guys to be able to just kind of plug and play with your business, is the type of stuff that I'm building into this course. And that's why it's a course that's actually for sale, is so that I can keep doing it. Because if I'm doing everything for free, if we're all doing designs for free, for example, we can't keep doing that. It's not sustainable. So in a regenerative vision of having a positive flow of finances in all of our lives, this is why we're doing things professionally and being paid well for what we do, because we're really providing tangible benefit. Either it's me helping you guys with the course, or you helping your clients, or helping other permaculture designers once you get going and learn what you've learned from me and build upon that and evolve it into something even greater than what I've been able to provide, which I'm super excited about, because I feel like I've got some great insights and great perspective on business, but I know that you guys can take it one step further if that's in your future, is something that you feel drawn to do. So with that, I am working behind the scenes, but I'm also on this course, but I'm also taking my time, such as after I get off this live Q&A today, if there aren't any more questions, I'll probably close it up soon for today. But I'm taking the time to actually rest and recuperate, which is something I really want to hit home for you guys, is that you should have, not only you should have your business work time where you're building business, finding clients planned into your day, aside from your other money-making activities, but you should have family time or girlfriend, boyfriend time, and fun time, nature time planned into your life, so that you can really rest and rejuvenate and be thinking clearly about things. Because if we're working constantly, I've done it a lot. I'm a workaholic myself, where it gets to a point where I just start living from a place of fear and anxiety, and then the things that I build aren't actually an outgrowth of my true relaxed and really guided nature of being a business that I really want to have and live in and work with on a day-to-day basis. So taking time out for yourself to rest up is so big, because as Einstein and other people have found in the past, when you're out on a bike ride or when you're swimming in the ocean, anything you might be doing where it's not directly using your brain are usually when the insights come to you, when your subconscious is able to work on some of these deeper answers to what you might do. Or it could be even some of the smallest things, like, how do I get back to that client who said, oh, you're taking too long with this design, or they asked how much this design will cost. Those smaller questions, up to what type of permaculture design should I even be doing, so that I'm happy 5 years down the line with where my business is headed. These types of questions aren't necessarily the type of thing that you can think through logically and wrap your head around when you're caught up in a lot of other things that you're doing. So help yourself do by not doing, which is a roundabout way of saying take some time out to just rest and relax and take in nature and be able to trust yourself that you'll be able to figure out the answer to these things. You don't need to force anything to happen. And I hope to find more clarity on that myself, to be able to share with you really how I do that personally, so you can develop these practices for yourself as well. That's one thing I love about being a teacher for you guys, is that it forces me, although I said don't force anything, but it really leads me and inspires me to live as an example for you guys, so that I can offer a building block and be a stepping stone so you can rise that much higher than even where I'm at. That's really what this permaculture movement is all about, and that's what an abundance mindset is all about. And we're all about, sharing the wealth in permaculture. That's why I love interacting with you guys, is because we're just all about making the world a better place, sharing, building community, rather than trying to keep all our information to ourselves. Someone like me could be like, I don't want anyone else to be competing with me. And that's a scarcity mindset. That's feeling like I need to keep everything to myself, like something's going to be taken away from me. And that's exactly the opposite of the type of business I know you want to run, and that I want to run, and the information I want to provide. So with that, thank you for joining me live here today. And I hope you drop in some comments and questions if you had a special insight that something I said caused for you, or if you have further questions. And I will see you guys in day 5 and in and around the Facebook group. I'd love to see you guys posting there more. And I'll do more to post some of my more vulnerable wins and fails so we can all learn together and realize that I'm not some special case of being able to create a professional permaculture design business. I have some fancy degrees, stuff like that, but I know that a lot of you guys are able to do this exact same thing. All of you, if you are able to get through some of the initial doubts and some of the time management stuff, you can build your own permaculture design business as well and take it full time, and then work on some dreams you have beyond this dream of having just a professional permaculture design business. Because once you keep moving and hitting some of these goals in your life, such as for me, recording my first music album, which I did earlier this month with a friend of mine, now I'm able to move on to other things, such as actually selling music, or with this permaculture designer course. Once I create this, I can move on to other bigger and exciting things that are coming up in my head that I can't get to because I haven't done these things yet. So remember that just being a professional permaculture designer isn't the end of the road. It's going to evolve and get better and better as you go on. So this is just the beginning of something amazing for you guys, and now is the perfect time to start, because things are never going to align in the perfect way for you to be able to start your business, and you can start it small. And that's how I did it. That's how I'm going to help you do it. And I'm excited to continue the conversation. So with that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out and rest up, get some nature in, get inspired. Bye.